The happy world of 5FM Radio, your adult contemporary radio station in Zambia, connecting you to the newsmakers and events that make news in the globe.
Good evening, this is the 5FM Radio Main News, the headlines. IPAC calls for the postponement of Bill number 7 of 2025. Senior Chief Mboroma of Luano District has urged people in the district to prioritize food security at household level. And South Africa's firebrand MP banned from entering the UK. This bulletin is live on our Facebook page, 5FM Radio Zambia, and YouTube, 5FM Radio Zambia. With the details, my name is Lance Sannie. The Action Institute for Policy Analysis Center, IPAC, has called government to postpone the representation of Constitution Amendment Bill number 7 to a future parliamentary sitting to allow for broader stakeholder engagement and the incorporation of other views into the bill. IPAC Executive Director Solomon Ngoma says while his organization supports the amendments to the Constitution, he believes that the process must have stakeholder participation and transparency, especially as the proposed amendments directly impact key institutions and stakeholders such as political parties, the judiciary, civil society organizations, and electoral actors. Mr. Ngoma underscores that the stakeholders play an essential role in the conduct and resolution of elections. The process lacks meaningful engagement with such critics. PAC further proposes that once comprehensive stakeholder feedback is obtained, the bill should be revised and regazetted to reflect the inputs received. Mr. Ngoma has since reaffirmed IPAC's commitment to a constitutional reform process that genuinely reflects the aspirations of the Zambian people. Government, through Justice Minister, is expected to present Bill number 7 in this parliamentary sitting.
IPAC calls on government to extend the timeline for stakeholder consultation bill's introduction to a subsequent parliamentary session. We urge the members of parliament through their chief whips to initiate engagements with civil society and professional bodies to ensure informed and representative debate when the bill is eventually tabled. We further propose that once comprehensive stakeholder feedback is obtained, the bill should be revised and regazetted to reflect the input received. This revised bill can then be presented in the next session of Parliament for thorough and informed deliberation. IPAC is committed to a constitutional reform process that genuinely reflects the inspirations of the Zambian people. We believe that only through dialogue and genuine can constitutional amendments gain legitimacy and advance democratic governance in Zambia.
Minister of Transport and Logistics Frank Tayali says Zambia's participation in the Central Corridor comes with enormous benefits to the country. Speaking when he on transport and logistics on the sidelines of the just ended 14th ordinary meeting of Interstate Council of Ministers for the Central Corridor Transport Transit Facilitation Agency in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania today, the minister said there is so much that can be achieved in harmonized efforts. Mr. Tayali called for continued efforts to push forward, inspired by the confidence that our united efforts would lead us to extraordinary achievements. The minister also updated the meeting on the various initiatives Zambia is currently undertaking to enhance our transport infrastructure, which is a vital backbone for the country's economic growth, social development, and regional connectivity. He said in collaboration with the Central Corridor Secretariat, Zambia has reviewed and finalized the draft data exchange memorandum of understanding soon to be signed between the Zambia Revenue Authority ZRA and Control Corridor Secretariat. Service Delivery Mechanism SDM for early project preparation technical advisory covering market assessment study on future cargo volumes between Zambia, DRC, and other states of Lake Tanganyika.
Central Corridor, we have witnessed that when we come together with a shared vision and unwavering commitment and determination, we can accomplish great things. Our journey together thus far has shown that when we unite around a common goal, our collective strength becomes unmatched and unstoppable to enhance our transport infrastructure, which is a vital backbone for our economic growth, social development, and regional connectivity. In collaboration with the Central Corridor Secretariat, we have reviewed and finalized the draft data exchange memorandum of understanding, which is soon to be signed between the Zambia Revenue Authority and the Central Corridor Secretariat.
And Tanzania Minister of Transport Professor Makame Mbarawanya expressed happiness that corridor member states were actively developing standard garage rail to freight for passenger and cargo.
In addition to passenger operations, I'm delighted to share that TRC has procured a total of 1,430 SGR freight wagons, of which 264 have already arrived in the country. We are currently finalizing preparation and expect to commence freight operation by July 2025.
In the meantime, Kabera Olivia, Minister of State for Infrastructure, who represented Dr. Jimmy Gasori, Minister of Infrastructure of the Republic of Rwanda, said Central Corridor developments have enhanced trade and increased employment in that country.
The Central Corridor ably upholds and implements such commitment of facilitating the movement of goods, people, and services, fostering greater regional cooperation and cohesion. The improvement of the corridor has not contributed to transport facilitation only, but also to the increased trade, investment, and job creation through improved connectivity. We commend the improved performance of the Central Corridor in general, and more specifically, the increase in the volume of cargo, and hence the increase in the levy collected. The volume of cargo increased from 22.9 to 24.5 million tons, and hence an increase in the levy collected from $4.9 million to $5.5 million a year.
And an item just in, President Hakainde Hichilema will address the nation this evening on the status of the state funeral. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Gift Sialuvalo has emphasized the need for elected and appointed officials in all local authorities to be proactive in executing their mandates in order to accelerate the provisions of more municipal services in communities. Sialuvalo stated that mayors, town clerks, and council secretaries should also lead by example in local authorities in embracing hard work if their institutions are to accelerate the delivery of quality services and empowerment programs to benefit more citizens. He stressed rather that it is through the provision of critical socio-economic services such as clean drinking water, quality health, and education to communities that the nation will record considerable progress towards achieving the goals of rural development. The minister was speaking when he officiated at the symposium for the Society for Local Authority Chief Executives, SOLACE, at Twangale Park in Lusaka today. The symposium, held under the theme Fiscal Devolution, Leveraging on Technology, Key to Sustainable, Resilient, and Improved Service Delivery, provides a platform for knowledge sharing, networking, and orientation of decision makers and implementers of the government policies and programs. The minister reiterated that the government expects more progressive and impactful leadership in local authorities. Hence, it is critical for the elected and appointed officials to continue portraying exemplary and visionary leadership premised on transforming the livelihoods of more citizens. Speaking at the same occasion, Local Government Service Commission Vice Chairperson Mr. Brian Ndumba implored officers in local authorities to continue upholding the highest standards of integrity, accountability, and a strong commitment to their roles as public servants. This is contained in a statement made available to 5FM News by Principal Public Relations Officer at the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, Liseli Kanyanga. Luana District Commissioner Kels Meleki has called on the farmers in the district to adapt to effects of climate change. Speaking when he officiated at the Luano District Agricultural Show, Mr. Meleki said effects of climate change are no longer a myth but a reality, hence underscoring the need for adaptation to maintain agricultural productivity in the area.
Adapting to climate change is no longer a choice. It is an urgent necessity. As government, we are fully aware of this challenge. That is why we have undertaken the deliberate smart agriculture such as conservation farming, agroforestry, and irrigation. The government has also strengthened early warning systems and weather information dissemination to farmers. Research and extension services, including climate resilient seed varieties. We are also encouraging diversification of crops and income sources to reduce vulnerability.
Meanwhile, Senior Chief Mburma and Chief Kanyanshe of Luano District have urged the people in the district to prioritize food security at household level. In the meantime, the two traditional leaders have warned the farmers in the district to avoid selling their maize crop to briefcase buyers.
Pero muleba nsa mulea kuchigayo panono mulelia ninshinsala mwaichi chapanganya muyangu akundalama lero angweni amatalo kutira wakwata isi yakulya pamayani mumishitishishe ya madaba na mwena na mwanako wafya panono kuliko fwebekala mushi ama meta yalepita sana chiambushikuka kameta
nafuwe chitukolo mbavuwe mfumu balesa batwalire okudosha enfulo kwebati obulimi tutwalire mukyalo isala ipwe mukyalo musunge bwino evidiyo yakushikisha evidiyo yo kumagorifikesi baya zibalemibira gavumenti yalizo twalini kubuteko tumishite bwino mushitemu omufundo mwashitamu omufundo mukalime futi.
And in other news trending this evening, the Zambia Civil Liberties Union ZCLU appointment of the Water Resource Management Authority WAMA board chairperson John Kunda and some other former board members. Kidney Foundation of Zambia is appealing to the Ministry of Health to urgently intervene and resolve the impasse surrounding the shortage of nitro blood lines, medical devices used in dialysis and other procedures where blood needs to be circulated outside the body. Up next, the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
A step forward for renewable energy in Africa, Serengeti Energy and Kwame Energy, together with 4 impact-oriented financiers, have partnered to develop the Ilute Solar Project. Located in Zambia's Sesheke district in Western Province, the 32 megawatts power Ilute Solar PV plant is strategically located to meet fast-growing electricity demand across Southern Africa. Through a power purchase agreement with Grenco Power Services Limited, the plant will be one of the first major private energy projects to connect to the Southern African Power Pool (SAP), leveraging competitive and open access markets to integrate solar energy into Zambia's national grid and support sustainable energy solutions for the region. The project's financing structure marks a breakthrough in project finance on the continent. Led by FMO, the Dutch Entrepreneurial Development Bank, with a $26.5 million package, the project brings together a mix of funding from Dutch Entrepreneurial Development Bank, FMO, the Sustainable Energy Fund for Africa, SEFA, managed by the African Development Bank, AFDB, Triodes Investment Management, and EDFI management company through the EU-funded electrification financing initiative Electrify. And ZESCO Managing Director Engineer Justin Longo says the project reflects Zambia's commitment to modernizing its power sector through innovative market-based solutions. He says as the national utility, ZESCO is proud to support a transaction that not only strengthens its grid but also positions Zambia as a regional energy hub. Engineer Longo adds that the Ilute Solar Project demonstrates what's possible when public institutions, private developers and buyers, and regional platforms like SAP work together to deliver long-term energy security and economic benefit for the country. In the meantime, Wezi Gondwe, managing director of Grenco Zambia, says the milestone shows that Zambia can attract clean energy investment while protecting public funds. Mr. Gondwe stated that as a Zambian-led and based company, they are proud to help power the country's development through this innovative model. Ends the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
And in news from across our borders, a controversial South African opposing member of parliament central to a row over race relations in the country has been denied entry to the UK. The Home Office said Julius Malema had been deemed non-conducive to the public good and that it was undesirable to grant him entry. In a letter released by Malema's party, the Home Office cited his vocal support for Hamas, including a speech he made after the 7 October attacks in which he said his own party would arm the group if it came to power. UK said Malema had made statements calling for the slaughter of white people in South Africa or hinted that it could be in the future, and also cited this as a reason for its decision. And in sports news, Football Administrator Nkweto Tembwe has called on clubs seeking to strengthen their squads to seize the opportunity presented by the ongoing National Division 1 playoffs to scout for talent. Tembwe emphasized that talent identification is a costly exercise, often involving travel, accommodation, but the current playoffs present a rare opportunity where clubs can assess a wide pool of players concentrated in one place. He encouraged coaches, technical directors, and club executives to treat the playoffs as a scouting hub, noting that many hidden gems often emerge from lower tier competitions and just need the right exposure to blossom. The National Division 1 playoffs continue to attract attention across the football fraternity, with several emerging players showcasing promising performances.
We are having the National Division 1 playoffs. Clubs, the senior ones, so to speak, those in Premier League. Let's find time to pass through these venues where this raw talent is being displayed. Let's go there and find these players whom we can easily negotiate for, bring them onto our books, and then start creating them into big players that we want. This idea of always just wanting to get a player when he's already up there doesn't help our football so much. Go playoffs from these smaller teams, so to speak, you'll find that there's a lot of amazing talent which will nurture and help your team to become the bigger team you want it to be.
And this evening's weather report, most parts of the country are under the influence of a relatively dry airflow from the southeast, leading to mainly sunny, slightly windy and warm to hot weather conditions. Ends our weather report, and that item brings us to the end of the news part. Before we go, a recap of the stories that made headlines. The Action Institute for Policy Analysis Center, IPAC, has called government to postpone the presentation of Constitution Amendment Bill number 7 to a future parliamentary sitting to allow for broader stakeholder engagement and incorporation of other views into the bill. Luano District Commissioner Chaos Meleki has called on the farmers in the district to adapt to effects of climate change by building resilience. And finally, a controversial South African opposition member of parliament central to a row of race relations in the country has been denied entry to the UK. For more news, follow us on Facebook and YouTube, 5FM Radio Zambia. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical department, thank you for listening to the Happy World of 5FM.